Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. About myself, my name is Muh.Riswan. Today I will explain about the history and scope of pronunciation teaching atau sejarah dan segala cakupannya di dalam pronunciation teaching. Uh, the first I will explain about history scope of pronunciation teaching. Uh, in his very comprehensive history of language teaching, and in language teaching has developed to general approach to the teaching of pronunciation. The first is intuitive, imitative approaches, and the second is analytic, linguistic, and approaches. The first is an intuitive, imitative approaches depends on the learner's ability to listen and to imitate the tone and sound of the target language without the intonation of my explained information. The second is an analytic linguistic approach, and the other hand analyze information and tools such as a phonetic alphabet, articulatory description, cares of the vocal apparatus, can quantitative information, and other aids to supplement listening, imitation, and production. So the conclusion about this history of pronunciation teaching, in modern language ada dua metode pendekatan yang digunakan, yaitu intuitive imitative approaches dan analytic linguistic approaches. The next material is direct method and more recent naturalistic approaches. In pronunciation is taught through intuition and imitation. Student through imitation and imitation. Students imitate a model the teacher are recording and do their best to approximate the model through imitation and repetition. So in this method, imitate a model the teacher are recording and do their best to approximate the model through imitation and repetition. The next material is the reform movement. The first linguistic or analytic contribution, the teaching of pronunciation emerged in the aspect of the reform movement in language teaching. This movement was influenced greatly by phoneticians such as Henry Sweet, Juan Viola, and Paul Bessy. The phoneticians involved in this international organization, many of one had also had experience teaching foreign language, did much to influence modern language teaching by specially advocating the following notion and practice. Like the first is the spoken form of a language is primary and should be taught first. The second, the finding of phonetics should be applied to language teaching. The third, teachers must have solid training in phonetics, and the last, learners should be given phonetic training of establish good speech habits. And the next is part of the reform movement. There are the 1940 and 1950 years. In this period, they have to make method. The first is audiolingualism, and the second is oral approaches. And in classroom, pronunciation is very important and is taught explicitly from the start as the start. As when the direct method classroom, the teacher or recording models a sound, a word, or an literature, and the student imitate or repeat. So, the direct method classroom, the teacher or a recording models a sound, a word, or an utterance, and the student imitated of repeat. The next is period is 1960 years. In this period, cognitive approach viewed language as really governed behavior rather than habit formation. And the next period is 1970 years. In this period, have two methods. The first is silent way, and the second is community language learning. The first method, the silent way, like audiolingualism. The silent way can be characterized by the attention paid to accuracy of production of both the sound of both the sound and structure for the target the target language from the initial stage of instruction. Uh, not not only the accuracy of individual sounds stressed from the very first day of the silent way class, but journal attention is focused on how word combine in phrase. Jadi pada metode silent way sama dengan metode audiolingualism pada periode 1940 dan 1950, where in classroom pronunciation is the direct method classroom, the teacher or a recording models a sound, a word, and utterance, and the student imitated or repeat. The next is community language learning method, rooted in the humanistic clan construct learning explained by Carl Rogers. Community language learning atau CLL is a method developed by Charles Asjoran for teaching second and foreign language. So, in this method dikembangkan oleh Charles Asjoran untuk pembelajaran bahasa kedua atau bahasa asing. A typical lesson in a CLL classroom proceeds as follows. All of students sit around a table with a tape recorder, a key tool of the method. The counselor, the teacher stands behind one of the students with hands on the students' shoulders. Jadi tipe metode ini siswa duduk melingkar, kemudian ada seseorang yang memutar tape recorder. The counselor, the teacher stand behind one of the student with hands on the student's shoulders. And the last material about pronunciation teaching today. This focus on language as communication brings renewed urgency to the teaching of pronunciation. Science hall Science hall as communication brings renewed urgency to the teaching of pronunciation. Science hall Science hall empirical and anecdotal evidence indicates that there some level of pronunciation formative records of English. If they fall below this intersol level, they will have oral communication problems no matter how excellent and extensive their control of English grammar and vocabulary may be. In this pronunciation today, Marley suggests that there are currently endless four groups of English language learners whose oral communication needs mandate a high level of intelligibility and would before would therefore require special assistance with pronunciation. There are the first foreign teaching assistant and sometimes foreign faculty. The second is foreign born technical, and the third international business people and diplomats, and the last refix. I'm so sorry, not the last. The next is visual aids. The next tongue twister, and the next developmental approximation rules. The next is practice of vowel shift and stress separated by acquisition, and the next is reading aloud at the recursion, and the last recordings of learners production. Okay, I think enough explain from me. The last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.